everyone, my name is Kelly Ralston, and today I'm going to do a book talk over Out of Darkness by Ashley Hope Perez. I'm just going to start by reading a short excerpt from the very first page of the story. Within the great circle of light, men crawl over the crumpled form of a collapsed school. They cart away rubble in search for survivors, for their children. Mostly, though, they find bodies, bits of bodies. They gather these pieces in peach baskets that they pass from hand to hand, not minding their torn gloves, torn skin. They say nothing of the stench. Wow, what a sobering opening to such a gripping and gut-wrenching novel. Today, like I said, I'm going to be sharing Out of Darkness with you. I'm excited to do so because it is one of my new favorite books, and I thoroughly enjoyed this story, so I hope that you all will like it just as much. As you can see, Out of Darkness is a Michael L. Prince honor book, which that's one of the most prestigious awards that a young adult literature novel can receive, so it really says something about the quality of the story. This was published in 2015. It has 396 pages in the version that I have, so close to 400 pages. This would be considered a historical fiction novel, and it was published as a young adult literature novel, as I said earlier. But I think that it could appeal to many different types of readers. This book is set in New London, Texas in the 1930s, in a town where many make a living from the oil drilling business. The book opens on the scene of the New London school explosion in Texas in 1937, which was a real tragedy where many school children were killed due to a gas leak or gas explosion. Leading up to the explosion, you follow the story of Naomi Vargas, who is a Mexican-American teenage girl who just moved to East Texas with her younger twin siblings, Beto and Carrie, to move in with their white stepfather, Henry. Naomi and her siblings, who were formerly living with their grandparents because their mother had passed away a few years ago, they're offered by Henry the promise of a better life. Naomi and her siblings face many struggles in their new home, such as Henry's relapse into old habits of abuse and alcoholism. Another ever-present reality is that of harsh racism that Naomi faces. An example of this is when Naomi attempts to buy groceries from the local store, and she's greeted with a sign that says no Negroes, Mexicans, or dogs. Soon, Naomi, Beto, and Carrie meet Washington Fuller. He goes by Wash, and he's an African-American teenager who lives in town. Beto and Carrie are just absolutely captivated by Wash, who entertains them and treats them like his own siblings. And Naomi and Wash soon develop a strong love for each other, which in society in the 1930s is absolutely not acceptable, considering Wash is an African-American boy and Naomi is a Mexican-American girl with a white stepfather. Wash and Naomi have to meet in secret and hide their love affair, as the fear of racial violence is very real. Naomi and Wash know that their love would not be accepted, and if anyone ever found out, Wash would have a target on his back. There's some hope for Naomi and Wash as they plan to run away and find a place to love each other in peace. However, everything changes after the New London school explosion. This book doesn't shy away from showing you the merciless racism that existed in the 20th century. Segregation, racial scapegoating, lynching, and other forms of racial violence are all present and provide a very accurate picture of what life was like in the 20th century for anyone who wasn't white. I also like that Perez writes her chapters from different perspectives of different characters in the story. So if I open up to a chapter, you can see, for example, that this chapter is highlighting specifically Wash's perspective and what he's experiencing at this point in the story. So I like that it offers different sides of the story and you can hear different perspectives. In my opinion, this was an excellent book. I was just absolutely wrapped up with the characters. I felt so invested in Naomi and Wash's relationship. I was rooting them on constantly. The racism in the story is absolutely maddening, but important and a very important part of the story. And with the backdrop of the New London school explosion, you do find yourself very invested in the characters. And when the explosion actually does happen, I felt very close to this situation. I remember I was trembling as I was reading the book. I was just, absolutely gripped by what was happening. I would absolutely recommend this book for any teenager in grades 9 through 12. I would give it 5 out of 5 stars. I will say there's plenty of depressing situations in this book. It can be considered a very depressing story, but a very important story. And I think that it uncovers a lot of the horrible racism that people faced um, in the 20th century. I also feel like, it's a basic tragic love story that many people could identify with and fall in love with. So I hope that you will give it a chance, and I hope that you enjoyed my book talk. Thank you.